All right, so let's move on to our next problem. Sneakers are on sale for 25% off the regular price. If the regular price is $80, how much will the sneakers cost? So a couple of ways to go about this. First, here's our percentage. Next, $80, is that our whole or the part? $80 would be the whole amount because that's how much the regular price would be if we didn't have any part of it off. So what they want to know is how much will the sneakers cost? So you could either figure out, okay, well, if I'm not paying the whole price, what percentage of the price am I paying for? In this case, it would be 75% of $80. Remember, whenever you hear of, that means multiply, parts of. So I could do 80 times 0.75, and actually I'm going to do it like this, 0.75 times 8, because if I have 1 0 in my question, that means 1 0 in my answer. So I could just put the 0 down and then do 8 times 5 is 40. Carry the 4. 8 times 7 is 56. My favorite math fact. 5, 6, 7, 8. 56 equals 7 times 8. 8 times 7 is 56 plus 4 more would be 60. 2 decimal places in my question, 2 decimal places in my answer. He would pay, or someone would pay, $60 for the sneakers. Does that make sense? Would they pay more than half of the price? Yes, because they have to pay 75%, so it's going to be more than $40. $60 seems reasonable to me. Another way we could solve that is by doing our tape diagrams here, 0 to 100%. We have $80 is our total, so this is 0. We want to know 25% off, so I would break it into 4 even groups. So that's 25%, 50%, 75%, 100. So I need to break 80 into 4 equal groups. So 80 divided into 4 groups would be 20. So that tells me there would be $20 off. This is the discount. So how much will the sneakers cost? Well, if they originally cost $80 minus the discount of $20, they would cost $60, which is what I found here. So that tells me how much would they cost? $60. You could also use this to find out 75%, because that's how much you would pay, because it would be off. So 20, 40, 60, 80. So $60 there as well. Of course, and lots of other ways you could find it as well, but the answer would be $60 off. All right, let's look at this one. Braxton has 15 lawns mowed out of a total of 60 lawns. So this tells me this is part, this is whole. What percent has he mowed and what percent does he have left to mow? Well, if I have part to whole here, that means I have 15 to 60, which means I could try to get this down to tenths, maybe by reducing. I see I could divide both of them by 5, but that would take me to 3/12, which really wouldn't help me. So I'm going to go with my go-to of simply dividing to get to a decimal, because that's easy to get to a percent. So if I have 15 divided into 60 pieces, I know I need a decimal, and that's what I want because I only want a part of it. So how many groups of 60 could I make out of 150? Well, 2 groups of 60 would be 120, so I'm going to go with 2. So that's 120 with 30 left over. 0, 0. How many groups of 60 could I make out of 300? Well, I think that would be 5 groups. So 5 times 60 is 300, which would be 0. So 0.25 or 25 hundredths of the lawns is 15, which makes it 25%. Ta-da! We could also do our lawns here. We could do our like this. Here's 0, here's 100, here's 0 and 60. I need 15 in here somehow, so I could divide this into, I know half would be 30. Half of that would be 15. So then 45, 60. So then I have my 4 parts up here, which makes that 25, 50, 75. So 15 lawns would be 25%. So make sure you answer both parts. What percent has he mowed? 25%. And what percent does he have left to mow? 75% left. Remember, these have to add up to be 100% or the total lawns. So that makes sense. 25% mowed, 75% left to mowed. All right, Scarlett got an 85% on her math quiz. She had 34 questions correct. How many questions were on the quiz? So this is part. We need to know the total. So for this one, I think it would be easiest to go with this method. We're looking for this number here. We know we want 85%. So I would break it into 5%, which means I need to break it into 20 groups. So I'm going to kind of break it in half here. Here's 50%. And then this needs to be in 10 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So these are each 5% here. I'm not going to take the time to label them because the only one I really worried about is 85%. So I'm going to break these into 10. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So here's 50%, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95, 100. So if 85 is 34 questions, I have to think, all right, what do I skip count by here to get up to 34? So that tells me I need to break it into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 pieces. So I think that's about 2. 17 times 2 would be 34. So that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36, 38, 40. That makes sense. Half of it was 20, so 100% would be 40. 85% is more than half of 40, so I think there are 40 total questions. All right, down here we have Brody's video game had 70 levels in it. He completed 21 levels yesterday. What percent did he complete yesterday? What percent does he have left to complete? Well, this is part of the whole, so 21/70ths. Here, I can reduce this to be tenths by dividing both of them by 7. So that would be 3/10, which is 3/10, which equals 30%. Or I could take 21 in here, add my decimal, 210. How many groups of 70 in 210? 3. So 3 times 70 is 210. 3/10, again, 30%. So if he completed 30%, that means he has 70% left to complete. So completed, left. 30 and 70 gets to 100. Again, if that's not your go-to method, that's okay. If you got 30% completed and 70% left, then I would trust your method. If you need more help than this, make sure you come see me tomorrow morning between 9 and 9:40.